Hey, folks, welcome to Crypto Heartbeat. This is Matt. I'm with my buddy Ray, and we're talking today about the Pulse chain. And Ray, it's great to have you on Crypto Heartbeat today. Um, okay, I mentioned to you this before. Richard Hart is in Switzerland. He has a meetup, and he makes some comments that absolutely blow my mind. And I want to share that with you. I want to talk about it because I think that viewers are going to be really interested in what he had to say. So if you're not familiar with PulseChain is a project by Richard Hart, who created Hex. It is its own fork of Ethereum, which brings over the system state. So this is a project that is unbelievable because of its dynamics, but the whole purpose of it is to be cheaper, faster, better. And we're already seeing that because the test net is out. But the reason we're making this video is because of something that has blown our minds and I'm not sure everybody has seen. So it's been mentioned during the meetup that happened, I think last night or the night before, with Richard Hart, that he made this statement that Pulse will not be for sale unless it's provided. The liquidity is provided by the sacrifice set. Well, we've got some questions about that, but also some commentary. And so I'm going to start, Ray, here right off with just some thoughts on that. And then, your commentary and all this, because I think that this is a really big moment for us to understand what's really going to happen. Probably the most unique thing about PulseChain is the fact that the 10,000 coins that were built on Ethereum, which is called the system state, is going to be copied over. One of the things that's unique, though, is that the gas fee that's used in Ethereum's network is Ether. Well, anyone who has Ether is going to get copied over in Pulse. And so that creates a really unique scenario when Richard Hart says that Pulse isn't going to be for sale. And so, Ray, what do you think is going to happen with Pulse and, holders? I mean, here we are, part of the sacrifice set. He's saying, all right, liquidity is going to be provided by those who have Pulse. The only people who are going to have Pulse are us, the sacrificers, and anyone who's got Ethereum that has basically gotten it copied over. And that's only good for 30 days unless they move it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, that's pretty amazing because, I was thinking that people were expecting that it would just open up and then people would start buying and selling Pulse and driving the price way down. And then, people trying to buy in the dip and then, the whole frenzy of regular IPO kind of behavior.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. And what's, I think, incredible, and I think this really speaks to the genius of Richard Hart. And this is the thing I think is absolutely blowing my mind is let's just kind of lay out the scenario. So you have sacrificed in the sacrifice set, you're going to have Pulse at 0 and it's going to hit your wallet, right? And then Richard's saying he's not going to be providing liquidity. So anybody that has Pulse, well, the only people that will have Pulse, in my understanding, and I could be wrong, and I'd love comments on this video to help educate me, is those that have Ether that get copied over and those who have sacrificed. Well, what do we know about a sacrifice? So let me ask you this question, Ray. Are you going to sell your Pulse on day one or provide liquidity to the market to sell it at like nothing?
Not a chance.
Not
There's
a chance.
No way I'm going to sell.
Right. So there's no way. So all the people that got into Pulse, and there's only really about 42 to 44,000 people who got in out of what? Over 300,000 holders of Hex, only 42,000 actually were in the sacrifice set. And so they're the only ones that are going to have Pulse. Now, we do recognize the OA, which we believe is Richard Hart, put in 13 billion or 14 billion at the end. But he's saying he's not going to produce. I think this is an absolute genius move. And here's why. So the people that are Ethereum holders who are not familiar with PulseChain are not going to touch, they're not going to even know it exists. And so in 30 days, it's going to get clawed back and it's going to disappear and that's going to be out. It's gone, right? Now, somebody that has Ether that understands what's happening or has a friend is going to say, hey, you need to, you've got this value. Well, some people are going to say, I'm going to hold. And other people are going to say, well, I'm just going to dump this. I don't really believe in this thing. And I'm an Ethereum person. Let's say I'm an Ethereum whale. And I just don't want to be a part of this. Well, they would have to provide liquidity. Well, what's amazing about this is there's so much demand for Pulse, not only because of the community like us that want to buy more Pulse, but also the people that have to do transactions. And I think, Ray, I want your opinion on this. I think the greatest thing that Richard Hart did was copy that system state, because every single one of those copied ERC20s, every single one of them, if they want to do any transactions of getting any value out of that, let's say they want to dump on our heads, they need Pulse in order to do those transactions. What's your response or thoughts or questions about that, Ray?
Well, that's what I was wondering, because so now we've got all these coins that are tradable in the Pulse net and the PulseChain net. So um, nobody's going to be able to do anything unless you had ETH and brought it over and claimed it, or you are part of the sacrifice phase. So really, we're looking at a small group of people who actually have the ability to start buying and selling of these coins when the price is maybe really cheap. I
Yep.
don't know.
Well, and what it does is think about this. Not everybody's a diamond hands holder of Pulse. Somebody that doesn't really care about it and realizes that in order to get their value out, they're going to have to provide liquidity. So let's say you don't care about it and you're like, yeah, I just want to get my money out. You might provide liquidity to get your, let's say you pair it with Ether and you say, all right, an Ether Pulse pair, and I want to pull out. Essentially, I want to sell all my Pulse so I can get Ether, and then I pull my liquidity, and I've got my value. Well, the price at the beginning is going to be extremely low. So all these weak hands, if they actually know how to provide liquidity, are going to provide it, and it's going to be eaten up. I almost think of it's like a room full of hungry dogs, and somebody's throwing a loaf of bread in the middle, and it's like it's gone immediately. Well, the impact of that, and this is not even counting all of the 10,000 ERC20s that are copied over that people are going to want to transact, that as it does this price discovery, because it's such a scarce resource, the price has to go through the absolute roof. And it takes all of these weak hands who don't care about the project off the table and forces them to liquidate their cheap Pulse. This is unbelievable. And it's almost like, when people talk about holding and holding and holding on holding, it's kind of like when you do a short squeeze, you are basically, buying and buying and buying so that it forces the shorts to be liquidated. And I think what's so brilliant, if I have this right, is that once again, Richard Hart and his game theory and tokenomics wins, because he's leveraging this idea of bringing over the system state as a demand for Pulse, which I
Yep.
think, as it's scarce as it's going to be, is going to be eaten up so fast by buyers of Pulse, but also by those who are weak hands. And so what does that do to us? It means the price appreciates extremely fast. That's my sense of it. I'm curious what you think, Ray, and I'm also curious what viewers think as well, because I want to have this conversation because I'm freaking out. It's so exciting.
Yeah, this is actually pretty awesome. I have two comments. One is, what's the opposite, right? So let's say you could come in and buy Pulse at the beginning, right? Which he's totally hedging against. Continue just to drive the price down and keep it down, because people are going to want to buy because they think that it's going to go up to $3,400 like Ethereum. Let's at some point, right? So, but in order to buy, you need to have all these other tokens available, right? So, all these other, Pulse coins available, or yeah,
Yeah, for the gas fees, absolutely.
for the gas fees. So, it's weird, because I kind of feel like, if by him saying we're not selling, you cannot buy coins at the outset, then he's protecting himself against people who are continually driving the price down.
Right. Well, and I think what he's saying too is that it's not that you can't buy Pulse. I think what he's saying is we're not going to be providing this super liquid market. We're going to allow it to essentially be scarce. And I think that what scarcity is creating is that people will see opportunities. They're like, well, how do I get my value out? I'll go pair it with ETH. I'll go pair it with something that I have, and I'll sell the Pulse I've got, right? Because I got some for my Ethereum. those weak hands will flush things out, but because of its scarcity, it'll drive the price up. And then think about all these things. It's almost like it's a rocket fuel for price discovery on all of these other ERC20s that have been copied over on the system state. Every single one of those people, let's say, you know, this word is going to get out virally that Pulse is live and that you've got this value over there. Well, the hexagons, of course, are happy because their liquid hex becomes p hex, which is really hex now, and e hex and hex. And then they're also going to see the fact that they've got their stakes, right? So they're gonna be happy. But there's 9,999 other coins potentially that are copied, and all of those people are going to kind of get word. And I think the viral nature of that, it's like built in to the tokenomics, into the structure, this massive what if, what's going on. And so the people that are haters might say, well, the only way I'm going to get this value out is to be a liquidity provider on this pair. And so that they will be out. And I think that demand for that much gas, which is going to be Pulse, and these people dumping the weak hands, it's almost like saying, it's like this massive judo move that Richard Heart's doing. He's basically saying, I'm going to use this value against the weak hands to drive the value through the absolute freaking roof.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. What's funny is when I look at some of the things that Richard Heart has done, it's almost as if he protects the people that believe in the system and believe in him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he really wants them to win. And by wanting all of them to win, everybody wins together.
Well, let's talk about Richard Heart then. I mean, here's the thing. There's a lot of people that don't like his style, right? But they sure do like what he's done for them, right? Yeah. And I feel very similar to that. And I think people that are of our age or older probably recognize that. And what I appreciated about him, he was at this meetup, and he said that a hexagon said to him, hey, with all this cursing, I can't share this with my mother. And I thought it was so great that he was respectful. I said, I'm not going to curse anymore because I want this to be more widely distributed. And I see how he shook hands of everybody at the meetup. He was really, he plays this kind of character and has all these wild and fancy things, but he is every man, right? He cares about this. Now, I do think that Richard Heart wants to be recognized as the king of crypto. I think he wants to go down in history as the greatest creator of value ever. But one of the things he's gotten, and it's the reason I got into Hex in the first place, is he realized the value of a community and building that community. And the only way you do that is by bringing value to the community. And that's what he has ensured this whole time. And so there's all these haters and everything, but Richard Heart isn't out there to dump on people because he doesn't get what he wants. And what does he want as the benefit? To be the king of crypto. And you know what? He's going to be. And I think that this move is the absolute ultimate checkmate. I predict that Pulse goes past Ethereum, certainly market cap, because there's so many coins. We're going to see this thing sitting at the top of crypto market caps. We're going to see price appreciation through the absolute roof, probably greater than Hex ever thought about being. And then think about this. He's created the ecosystem where other people can create projects on the PulseChain, which have super low fees. So we're going to see NFT providers. We're going to see exchanges. We're going to see everything and all these DApps and DeFi built on top of PulseChain because it's faster and cheaper and all this stuff. And so, folks, thank you for taking time. Ray, thanks for your time here. I wanted to get this video out just to say, hey, there are a lot of people out there that are looking at this. I don't know if they're looking at this same way, but it's a real epiphany for me. And that's what's so great about someone like Richard Heart. He doesn't care what you think. So what you got there?
That's my vote.
All right, folks. This is not financial advice. We're not financial advisors. We're just talking about the situation here with the PulseChain. We're just excited, right? And if you're excited too, I want to see comments and also want your commentary. We're not the smartest guys around. We're just like you. We're just trying to figure things out. And whenever we find something that's interesting, we're going to share it with you. Thanks for watching Crypto Heartbeat. Ray, thanks for your time today. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
See you, man.